mainly because I think Runes Reforged added kind of like almost like a power creep or like just extra damage for pretty much everyone. Like for example, you have ADCs complaining about getting one shot by Leona Nautilus, stuff like that, where it makes it kind of awkward. Where there's a lot of new variables in the game that haven't like been in the game in the past.
This is Zento from Esports Heaven, and I have here with me Cody Sun, victorious against Golden Guardians. And you guys stomped that game pretty hard. Or more so, someday stomped that game really hard. And that's not to take anything away from the rest of the team, but how do you feel playing through top lane when it comes to your entire team, I guess, roster? Are you guys really comfortable playing through someday?
Yeah, so throughout my career, I've played with pretty much every carry top like possible. I went with like my first team, Immortals. I had Flame, up top. He loves being played around. And then after, played with Someday, and then Huni even. And now Someday again.
I've had a lot of carry top laners.
So I have a lot of experience like playing, playing weak side, playing towards top, as well as maintaining like a stable bot lane, but also being able to pressure on our own. And so for this week, we're kind of trying to be, I guess, have a more aggressive mindset going into each game and making sure that we can have individual agency and not just like be really scared and just only play with the junglers. So in terms of that, I think we actually did a pretty good job this week for both LCS games.
Yeah.
Against TSM, they obviously they played really well, but it was up to us to throw that game, and we did make some crucial mistakes that allowed TSM to take the game away from us. But that feels a lot better than just play defensive for 40 minutes and then just losing.
For sure. So with you kind of playing through the top lane, at least within this draft of picking Lucian at the very end of the draft, do you think playing through top lane is kind of the proper way to play League of Legends right now?
I think that there's many different ways to play League right now. Currently in 2020, in season 10, there's a lot of new things added to the game that makes it really different than the previous seasons. Mainly because I think Runes Reforged added kind of like almost like a power creep or like just extra damage for pretty much everyone. Like for example, you have ADCs complaining about getting one shot by Leona Nautilus, stuff like that, where it makes it kind of awkward. Where there's a lot of new variables in the game that haven't like been in the game in the past, where it was a lot more standard before. So I think right now we're kind of going into a direction where there's gonna be multiple ways to play the game out, and it's just gonna be up to your team to execute your certain strategy and kind of make it harder for the enemy team.
Yeah, I mean, because before, I remember back in the day, everyone would take armor runes, right? So it would be much harder to actually die in lane, especially as an ADC. So that's funny that you say that. Do you believe that supports have too much damage right now?
I believe everyone in the game has way too much damage right now. It's not just supports. I think the fact that you have like mid laners or like Kiana, like this champion is just so unplayable for an AD carry to play against, because if he gets the grass and he's like decently like scaled up in mid game, right? He can like Q you once, and then puts him invisible, right? WQ you again, and then you're pretty much like at 10% health, and he can just like flash EU, which is not even like dodgeable. And you just get one shot without her pressing ulti. So I think stuff like that where like there's a lot of a lot of different champions right now that just pretty much are able to do things that like champions in the past just wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah.
And it makes the game like pretty volatile, I would say. And whoever is more aggressive, whoever has like their one turn that they can like push to the max and utilize that really well, I think is at a pretty big advantage. And I think that's something that C9 does really well right now, is that they'll maximize their windows, and you get a window every game, but you can be safe or you can try to like maximize it. And I think for C9 it's like they're really aggressive with their timings, and then they don't really like ever play safe. And I think in the past, like their play style, they would just like run it down really hard in the past, and it wouldn't work out because you just can't like randomly one-shot everyone. But that's not the case right now. You just pretty much kill anyone you want on your screen. So I think for us, we're still kind of adapting to that.
So I noticed in this game, you and Someday actually ended up stacking Doran's blades. And thinking about that, people would assume, especially if you're MF, or even Lucian, I guess you could say, that purchasing a longsword would be better. But then it comes the hypothetical of, well, like as you're saying, there's more damage in the game, so therefore, is health a better stat right now for an ADC in the early game, or how does that work?
Absolutely. Right now the game is just whoever is more aggressive with their windows and can get the maximum amount of profit is going to win the game. And Doran's Blade, obviously, it doesn't scale really well. But it is probably the most efficient item you can get early game. And I do believe that the game should be heavily like played around for early game because of this damage creep from the runes. So I think that's like primarily the reason why you don't really see too much like scaling picks in the world. I think if you like, I watch a lot of Korea and like ULCS as well, or like OEC obviously, and when I watch Korea, the really good teams are still really aggressive, despite that region being known as like a slower paced region, like traditionally speaking. And I think teams that are at the top in pretty much every region plays a really fast-paced, aggressive playstyle. And I think this kind of playstyle was introduced like pretty early, like maybe like 2 or maybe a year ago. But like
the main team that I can think of was G2, kind of playing very fast, right?
Teams like G2 that pick like early game, junglers, early game for mid, and just like snowball the game really effectively. Where in the past, for example, when I was on 100 Thieves in spring, we would pick Braum, pick Tristana, Sejuani, and just like scale up because we're in NA and other teams aren't gonna like punish us anyways. So like we might as well just play to like 30, 45 minutes and then let's play the game out from there. But now it's just like if you have a window, you see anyone, just dive them, just kill them.
Yeah.
So
I want to touch on one last thing, which was, I believe the last interview that I had with you, I'd asked you a question of, do you think a rookie player can criticize a veteran player? And your response to that was something along the lines of, no, like, not really. How do you feel now in your shoes in terms of criticizing both just players on your current team right now and also even veteran players? Because now you are kind of a veteran player yourself. So how do you feel in that situation currently?
For me right now, I am kind of the middleman for my team. Obviously, I have a lot of Worlds experience from being there for the past 3 years. But Meteos and Someday are still more experienced than I am overall. I can bring in some, new strategies that I've learned from like Worlds against, these scrimming against these top teams, as well as I can kind of help Stun and Ryoma with their like mindset, being as less experienced players on the team and helping them cope with, receiving feedback and criticism, as well as, help them express their own opinions, because even though they're less experienced doesn't mean their opinions don't matter. They still do, and I guess we usually call them like Zoomers. So like the Zoomers have their own opinions, and then we have our own as veterans. So I've been trying to help a lot with their mindset, and I do think the most important thing before even receiving criticism, right, is your mindset. Like, are you thinking like, okay, this guy is trying to help me improve my game, trying to help the team grow overall, or is he just shifting blame, trying to blame me? And that feels really uncomfortable, especially for like new players, right? So for me, I try to like tell them like, I was once in your shoes. I know what it's like to be the rookie on the new team and having a lot of feedback and criticism from my teammates. And the most important thing for them is like feeling safe when they're receiving the criticism. Because if you are like having pushback for criticism, then it doesn't matter, if the criticism is like, or feedback is the best like tips that you can get for your life, because you're not in the right mindset to actually kind of understand what the other person is trying to say. So I think, so the most important thing is making sure that, they understand that, they're not being picked on or anything. It's just we're trying to improve everyone as we can, and trying to be the best team that we can. And I think for this week, or I think for like as we play more, as we have more feedback and have more weeks and have more talks with everyone, we're definitely getting a lot more comfortable kind of like flaming each other for our mistakes. And then that's going to help us improve at a faster rate than before.
That's good. I look forward to see you guys play in the upcoming weeks. This has been Azento from Esports Heaven and Cody Sun from 100 Thieves. Thank you.